Greetings, everyone. Mario Blandini here, founder of Resolve Networks and the host of the Comeback Podcast, where we explore thoughts and perspectives involving the good deeds of people. My mission is to prove something pretty simple, that good can be and arguably is more than charity. And when we're united and engaged by purpose, everyday people will play the decisive difference in achieving a greater good because we're stronger together. And my hope is good deeds by volunteers will play a role in they themselves reaching their highest potential. And I'm super honored to meet a man I respect very much, a Mustang officer of our armed forces, Colonel Mikel Burroughs, United States Army retired. How you doing today, sir?
Hey, I'm doing great.
All right. Are you hopeful? You live at altitude in Colorado, so it's a little easier to have a helper's high, so to speak. But yes, are you hopeful, sir?
I'm hopeful like 24/7. I drive my family and everybody crazy because I'm so hopeful.
Indeed. I think I resemble that comment, Michael, because people see me, this guy has so much energy. But when you're living for a passion with a purpose, I think it's a lot easier. It's a great way to live. And with permission, sir, I'll call you Michael only because I had to fight the Marine instinct in me to do that. But I respect, hey, talk about your comeback story, Michael. It started by serving our country for a long, long time, not just as a distinguished officer, but starting out like many of us who joined our armed services. Talk about your comeback story.
Well, Mike, I'm not going to get into the 37 years that I served in the military, okay? Let's just leave that all behind. But let's talk about the last 4 years, man. Something happened to me in my family that was very, very upsetting. My father-in-law, a Vietnam veteran, Marine, by the way, sniper, died from suicide on 8 December 2015. And on that day, along with a few other soldiers that I deployed with back in 2005, 2006 in Iraq that died from suicide, I made up my mind that I was going to do something. I was going to have an impact, and I was going to try to save lives. And I created a program called Warriors for Life. It's a group support. And it's been going for 4 years, and we've got a great following, and I know we're saving lives out there, and that's going to be my mission until they fold my flag.
All right. Well, hopefully that's many years to come, sir, and that fewer flags are placed prematurely on in memorial services, because like you, my wife's very dear cousin, an Air Force veteran just last year, also took his life. And I think there's anything that we can do as good deeds that could lead to a positive outcome in the area of veterans, or even just in life, just this idea of giving people hope and knowing that there is an affinity group that loves them, and that while it may not always be convenient, certainly it's there. And frankly, we are seeking out how to reach those people. So your comeback story is not over, sir. 4 years in, what's going on in the next 4 years and into the future in terms of this story?
Well, we want to continue to grow that. We haven't marketed it, in a big way, but we're going to be doing that. And just 4 weeks ago, we closed on 166 acres down in Costa Rica. And my vision is to build a wellness center down there where we can bring veterans and first responders and give them treatment for PTSD, traumatic brain injury, military sexual trauma, drug and alcohol abuse, and then follow on after that 6 weeks or 12 weeks, whatever they decide. We're going to connect them with Warriors for Life, and we're going to stay connected with them for as long as they want to stay connected. And the peer-to-peer support after we provide this wellness, we think is critical to putting an end to veteran and first responder suicides.
And it's not just that order. I came to know you through you advertising on Rally Point, or let's say sharing on Rally Point, not advertising. It's a community. The availability of these sessions, and I personally found them to be very different than the ones that, let's just say, are more orthodox. And your guys have been at it for years, like without fail, delivering these sessions live 4 times a week. Talk about what that journey's been like, because it takes a lot of commitment and a lot of dedication to purpose to really keep this sustained. I mean, it's this, if you never stop humping or you never stop rucking, you'll never stop, but it's hard to never stop rucking, right?
You're absolutely right. And every week is like a new challenge, because at the beginning of the week, after Sunday's Warrior for Life session, and then I'm getting everything set up for Monday, and I'm getting everything set up for Tuesday and Thursday. But during that week, I'm thinking about, all right, what am I going to talk about next? What am I going to share with these veterans that they haven't heard? And man, we came up with a great one just for this Saturday night. We're going to be talking about, staying sane while we're staying home alone, during COVID. And it does play heavily, on mental health. And so, it's a challenge every week, but you know what? I love it. And through something that I do every day to provide inspiration to veterans and service members on Rally Point, is I do a daily motivational quote. And those topics come up from what people say, or something that happens in my life that week, or just I get inspired. I'm sitting there thinking, and I write something down, like I wrote down today, role model. Okay, so that'll be a future quote. And then I try to tie it to leadership, and I tie it to these programs, that I run 4 days a week. And how can we do more to get these veterans reconnected, get them involved in that camaraderie and that peer-to-peer support from the comfort of their home, right? On an Android or on an iPhone, a laptop, a PC, or a Mac. And, it's challenging, but you know what? I love it.
Yeah, and it's one of the reasons why I wanted to have you share your story of hope, because I think, especially like your topic for this next Saturday, which is, how do you stay sane? I think hope plays a big part in that, right? Because the glass is more than half full. And for those who have a half empty glass, find somebody with a half full glass, right?
Absolutely, man. Just being positive all the time, and that's what these veterans need. They need to share. And when they start telling their story, man, oh my goodness, it's overwhelming for me sometimes. I mean, I actually got to turn away. I don't want anybody to know that the colonel might have a tear in his eye, but you know what? Some of these stories will break your heart. And
Yes.
for them to get that out and to get that load off their shoulders, it's, you can see immediate relief. Mm-hmm. And that's what we're all about.
Let's go into that a little deeper then, Michael. The idea of trust. I believe that the reason why peer support is not the solution, but it's the most important part of the solution, given the stats that are readily available. Out of every 10 humans that could benefit from some sort of mental health services in the United States, there's only 2 to 3 clinicians to cover those, right? So there's a vast majority of folks that can't go immediately into clinical help, but isn't the first thing just being able to share it with somebody you trust? And not everybody, especially some of the people in the most need, have a partner or someone in their family they can do it for. But our tribe, so to speak, our brotherhood and sisterhood we have from being veterans and having that shared experience, the trust is embedded in that shared experience. And talk a little bit then about, not just veterans as veterans, but these are people. And that trust is really the thing that needs to be there. And I think that I've just seen it embodied in the work that you guys do in Warrior for Life. I just want to get your thoughts on that, just as your perspective, because it's something you had a chance to lead for many years and the lion's share of your life.
Well, and proof is in your actions. Okay. I mean, people just aren't going to arbitrarily trust you, even if you were a veteran. You have to prove your worth. And when I invite veterans into Warriors for Life, I say, come on in and just listen, dial in and listen, just kind of be that little fly on the wall and listen to what we have to say, listen to what others have to say. And when you feel comfortable and you're starting to build that trust, then, open up. And if it takes a couple times, it takes a couple times. And, I don't have a problem with that. We want to build that trust. We want to earn that trust, and we just don't demand it. Okay. We have to earn it. We have to earn it through our actions and through how we talk, to these veterans. And it comes around. It comes. And then once you develop that, it's amazing that a number of these veterans, we become friends, we become very close comrades, and when they need somebody, now they know they can reach out to you personally.
Absolutely.
For a helping hand. And I think that's critical to what our veterans need today. We don't want to take them away from their primary providers. We don't want to take them away from their primary therapists and stuff like that. But we want to provide that bond, that level of trust and that camaraderie that they transitioned away from when they left the military, whether it was a medical discharge or whether it was an honorable discharge. We want to build that, and we do that.
I agree. I think you're right in the overall approach. One of the things I want to discuss is this idea that suicide clearly is a endpoint, but arriving at that point there's a continuum. And I've heard you speak very eloquently about the idea that preventing suicide is something that arguably is a part of the entire veteran nonprofit industrial complex. There's 46,000 veteran nonprofits, and they have services all along the way. No one, like you said, no one organization can do the full continuum. So it is a continuum. Talk a little bit about what you've learned over the past several years in operating the program, and how just having a crisis helpline isn't a solution. It helps prevent something bad, but preventing something bad from ever having a possibility of happening happens much earlier in that continuum. And I'd love to hear your thoughts on that.
Well, I mean, we've learned over the last 4 years, first of all, fundraising is really tough, because you're out there competing. But we've also learned that, our perspective, from Victory for Veterans, and that's the main nonprofit that I work for. I work for 3 nonprofits, by the way, and we can talk about those a little bit later. But we found out that, really the wellness is critical. And then the second part of that is employment, getting these people back to work, getting that self-worth, going. But wellness is so important. And, we're not the answer by far, but we want to provide education, and we feel that putting peers out there, putting people out there in the same situation that have gone through the same types of trauma, whether it's a traumatic brain injury or whether it's PTSD or whether it's military sexual trauma, whatever it is, or maybe just a bad transition, we want them to hear from other people that have gone through the same thing, that maybe are a little bit further down the road in their healing process, or maybe they're just starting. But that's such a confidence builder. I mean, it's such a confidence builder. It's education, right? And then just knowing that somebody else out there is going through the same thing that they're going through, and bringing them together is so important. So wellness and employment are really our foundation that we want to help veterans with. And that's what we're going to do in our wellness center in Costa Rica, and the wellness centers that we want to open up in the United States.
Yes, sir. So for me, I like to tell the story. I probably had PTS before I went in the service. I'm sure several men and women under your command got squared away by being in the Army, because the Marine Corps squared me away. I came out actually more mentally healthy. It's one of those things that, do you think that this idea, and it's reinforced by a lot of the way advertising and fundraising is done, that it's like a woe is me, guilty, we should take care of these people sort of thing? Do you see an opportunity to use stories of hope as the motivator rather than the, hey, you should feel bad and serve folks? I think that, yes, there's room for both. Maybe I just don't see enough of the stories of hope. And I think that's one of the things that Warriors for Life really focuses on, right?
Yeah, I mean, to me, hope is what it's all about. It's not, I don't want people to feel sorry. And these people don't. These individuals, these men and women that are going through this, they don't want people to feel sorry for them at all, okay? They're just looking for that hope. They're looking for the sharing and the caring. They're looking for the peer-to-peer support. And that's one of my famous sayings. I love that, sharing and caring, but, sharing is caring. And so being able to share that story with others and just get it out, man, and get it out. And I've had so many of them come back to me and say, you know what, I feel so more comfortable talking to you online from the comfort of my home and being able to share my story with other people than I sometimes do, at my, in-person therapy sessions, where they put us all around in a group table, and they have one standard question or one standard focus. And so that's why we tried to create so many different topics and so many different subjects. And I bring in guest speakers. I bring in the experts, right, to talk about different topics and things that they can do and things that they can try. So it's just hope is the key word. You hit it right on the you hit the nail right on the head, Mario. It's hope. They don't want people to feel sorry for them. They just want hope. They want to move forward. They want to change their lives. They want to try to get back to the new normal.
What I call a comeback, sir. Life is all about ups and downs, and one of the most high points that we as who've worn the flag of our country, that high point is the graduation of boot camp, which you yourself have done, and you went on to graduate Officer Candidate School. But for a lot of people, they may not, through whether a bad transition or some other point, may not even be back to that level. And it's not measured by their wealth or their possessions, but rather, like you said, that feeling of hope inside of them. And I think that's one of the things that's motivated me to create the company that I have, which I'm looking forward to working with organizations that are focused on veteran suicide as the first cause, in that if we can start there and then work our way backwards, we'll get to wellness. And we got to do them all the things at the same time, but I think it takes a comprehensive scorecard to do that. Talk to me about just some of the experiences that you've seen, because you've probably been a part, as you've mentioned sharing already, the part of seeing some comebacks of people. And I believe that part of making a comeback, at least in my volunteering work, the people who have been helped become the best evangelists and the best givers of help. Like I just have to think, part of their own comeback is to serve others, to help people make their comeback. It's kind of crazy. The good deeds kind of just snowball, so to speak. I'd love your thoughts on that.
Well, I mean, I've got one particular instance. I'm just going to mention the individual's first name. His name is Aaron, and I've been working with Aaron for almost 5 years now. And PTSD and disabilities coming out of the service are a number of different various reasons. But when I met this individual, he was homeless. He was living on the streets of San Francisco in a box. And we connected, and he was only like an E4, in the Navy, and that didn't mean that that I connect with everybody, and that's one of the reasons I get that trust, is because even though I was a colonel, I spent 9 years enlisted, and I understand, and I treat these guys with the utmost respect, and I've been working with for 5 years. It took him 4 years to finally get 100% full disability for his PTSD and all of the stuff. And this guy he worked so hard. And to listen to him now, man, he wants to write a book. He wants to write the manual, for other veterans on how to get through this process and how to fight the system and how to fight the VA system, when it first gets rejected. Not saying that the VA system's bad, but, there's rejection, at the beginning of it, and a lot of people give up.
It's not convenient.
No. And he fought it, and he fought it hard, and he's a success story. And now he wants to go out. He had degenerated disc, in his back, and they wanted to do back surgery on him because he got beat up pretty bad on a ship. And he said, you know what, I'm going to go out and I'm going to do it myself. So he started inversion therapy, right? For 3 years, and he's healed himself. And now he wants to share that with other veterans. To me, that's a comeback story. Okay. That's a comeback story. That's what it's all about. And we want to have more stories like that.
And more stories, not for being selfish, but more stories because we have a shared purpose, right? And I think that part of hope is being able to have some sort of mooring to a higher purpose. And it doesn't have to do with faith. I know in the Marine Corps, you probably have your own order from the Army, but it was always God, country, Corps, and then your family, right? And your girlfriend has to come behind your family unless you get married, and then she can be part of the family, right? But most of the people today wouldn't have the military service, so their family would be much higher up. But talk about the fact that an affinity group, those who share a common interest or purpose, are just below family in terms of that hierarchy, because these are people who have a shared purpose with you, and nothing would delight them more than to see you be successful. We think of this world as everybody's trying to bring everybody else down, but thinking about it just the opposite way can be a more positive thing. So I'd love your thoughts just on that, because I think that's going to help bring together volunteers and donors to focus on a set of goals that your organization and others that share the same purpose can use to advance the cause. And I think, to me, technology can help bring us together in this case, like you've proven with Warriors for Life.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, our entire program, we have no paid employees. I'm a volunteer. The CEO and founder, Steve Durgan, is a volunteer. All of our board members are volunteers. All of our Warrior for Life facilitators are volunteers. It has just been unbelievable to me, the number of people, that have stepped up. And that includes civilians as well. I mean, I have a number of guests. I have a number of guest speakers that come on, every other month, that really love our mission. They love what we're doing. They want to support veterans and first responders. And the caregivers. The caregivers are out there are so important. They go through a battle as well. So, once a month we try to do something when we try to bring the caregivers in along with their veterans, because they've got a mission, and it's just as tough. But I tell you what, we could not be where we're at today. We're not exactly where we want to be. Okay, we've still got a long way to go, but we could not be where we are at today without the grateful volunteers of our civilian board members, our veteran board members, and all the people that have stepped up for us. It's been unbelievable. And when I do a flower on every grave, I do a flower on every grave on Memorial Day, because I want to recognize what Memorial Day is all about, where we go out and we recognize those veterans that have come before us, whether they've died in combat or whether they've died from natural causes. And, in the previous years, I've had 200, 300 people and their families come out to help us with that operation, across this country and all the cemeteries that we're working. And it's just unbelievable, and it's so gratifying to see young men and women. I have Boy Scout troops come out. I have Girl Scout troops come out. And just to see them get involved and really understand what the true meaning of Memorial Day is, it's awesome.
Yep. And I think that we could use a little bit more of that. At least balance it out with what is otherwise a lot of negativity out there. Right. And so one of the reasons why I wanted to get your thoughts, sir, not just because you have a lot of great experience, Michael, because you live it every day. What can you predict about the future? And I obviously, it doesn't have to be scientifically based, but in a hopeful way, what do you see then the next 10 years being? Because odds are there's going to be fewer veterans that will have seen combat. A lot of them are still cycling out, but our hope is that we have less conflict. We stand by prepared to serve, not because we want to go do that. I was a largely peacetime Marine, first Persian Gulf conflict. I never got called to do that. But what is one of your predictions then about our community of veterans, which, as you so eloquently mentioned, is 150 million Americans who didn't serve but support, those who've worn our nation's flag. So talk about what you see in terms of the future of how we can be stronger together.
Well, let's kind of back up just a little bit, because Warriors for Life, we're helping Vietnam veterans. Okay, so we've still got a lot of people in the past, that have suffered a lot of trauma. And of course, with us being at war over, 17, 18 years in Afghanistan, I think almost 10, 11 years in Iraq, where we were fully deploying people, we've got a huge generation of that 20 plus million, 21, 22 million veterans out there that are going to be around for a very, very, very long time, okay, over the next 10 years. And we cannot stop this mission. And the other thing that you have to keep in mind is that these men and women that are suffering from PTSD, there is a filtering down effect there's an effect that has PTSD effects on the family and their children. Okay. Yes. And so we have to be cognizant of that as well. And we won't give up the mission. My prediction is in the next 10 years, our organization will have our wellness center up. We will be treating a lot of veterans off-site and throughout the United States. And we will keep them connected with Warriors for Life. I think Warriors for Life will eventually market and take off. We will be able to pick up veterans, not only here in the United States, but worldwide. Okay. We're going to get there because you know why? We're determined. Okay. We're motivated. We're inspired, and we're not going to quit. And you know what, Mario, we're here for you, and we're here for comeback, my friend. We're ready to go whenever you want us to go. I'm going to be there for you, and I'm going to do everything to make your program successful because it's going to help save veterans' lives.
And I'm honored for that, Michael. And the last thing I'll want to talk to you about is if we have all this shared passion and this shared purpose, do you see a potential in the future to have more organizations that have the same purpose, maybe do some collaborations? Like in the music industry, the hottest things that hit the charts are multiple artists singing on the same track or performing on the same track. Yet it's been my experience in launching my venture that organizations that have some overlap, so to speak, almost see themselves as vehement competitors because they're going after that same kind of pool of donor money. And I'm not seeing as much collaboration as you might see in other areas. I'd love your thoughts on that, because if you wanted to ensure that a target gets destroyed, sure, send in the Marines first, not the Army. A little joke. But it always involves not just one fire team or one squad or one platoon or one company. You put multiple companies together into a regiment, and you put multiple regiments into larger forces. You had a chance to be a brigade commander. Isn't it because all the people in your brigade put whoop ass on the target that got the thing? I think that we have brigade-sized elements of organizations with a shared purpose. I'd love to see us get together for a group mission to really kick some ass and take some names. I'd be interested in your thoughts there, because I think that you as an organization welcome this, but it may not be an ideology that's at least well understood by a lot of people. So I'd like your thoughts.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. It's not an ideology that's thought by a lot of people. We are definitely for that. I mean, that's why we're with you, Mario. We see that as part of our collaboration, and our wellness center, that we're looking to build down in Costa Rica. We have partnered, with 2 or 3 organizations that do exactly what we do, or maybe they do it better. We're not looking to invent the wheel. We want to find people out there that can save lives. Okay, what you mentioned. It has to be a joint effort, okay? So if you put on a joint effort, right, you bring all the services together, you bring all the nonprofits together, you can make a big, big, big difference, okay? And we're all about that. I think that we're getting there. I think we're getting better at it, and we will continue to push that mission as hard as we can, to make that happen. Collaboration is so, so important. And it's not about us, okay? We're all volunteers. We're not in this for the money. We're in this to save lives.
So I know that your experience, to wrap it up, you've done joint operations, right? And so you didn't care if it was an airman or a sailor or a Marine or a coastie doing the work and getting it done, right? It really is a team effort. And so as you share your final thoughts, Michael, talk to us about hope there, because I believe, as I said, the show open, that it's us with a common purpose coming together. We can play that decisive difference in creating a different outcome.
Well, I mean, we're mission committed. We definitely want to take care of our veterans. Being a part of your podcast and being a part of, Comeback, I think is very, very important to get the word out. We will continue to get that word out. Rally Point has played a big part. I'm the number one influencer there, and I'm connected with so many people, and I've helped so many people, and I'm going to continue that mission. I'm just ready to go. I'm Mario, you tell me, take that hill, brother, I'm going to take that hill. How's that sound?
As long as we get to do it together. Thank you a lot, Michael. Thank you a lot for your service and for sharing your thoughts of hope and your perspectives on how we can be stronger together. I appreciate it.
Awesome. It was. Thank you, and it was a pleasure to be a part of this, Mario.
All right. Colonel Mikel Burroughs, United States Army, retired, a person that puts me to shame in terms of motivation. I tend to fancy myself as being somebody high energy, but as we do every time on our Comeback podcast, we want to share thoughts and perspectives of involving the good deeds of people and being united by hope. With that, I thank you for your time, and I look forward to bringing you even more comeback stories, some great ones shared by our guest today, and something I hope to do as a part of my own personal comeback story to reach my highest potential. Thanks a lot for joining, everybody. We'll see you next time.